Welcome back to NAB Show Live. I'm Alex Lindsay.
And I am Leslie Samuel. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. We've been seeing some very interesting things today.
And we have more to see.
And we have more to see.
Here with Ross Shane from Imagineer Systems. Now, is it still Imagineer Systems?
It is still Imagineer Systems.
Still a separate company. And for those of you who are watching, the background is Imagineer Systems has been around for a long time.
Yeah, we've been around for, just over 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember the first year. We were watching, like, you can paint stuff out and it just disappears.
Yeah, exactly. So, our first technology, how we first came to market, was object removal.
Which was fairly magical.
Yeah, it was really magical. It's sort of the magic of visual effects, but we didn't develop the software really for object removal. First, we were just like researchers who were trying to actually stitch images together, but we realized that if we stitched to actually follow the camera and stitch the images together, once we ran some filters, these objects, foreground objects, would actually magically disappear from the scene.
Right.
In fact, our first thing we actually did was remove Stefan Edberg from Wimbledon, where a camera was moving, and all of a sudden the tennis player just disappeared.
Right.
And we took this technology and showed it to various companies, and someone said, "Hey, that's visual effects. This is the industry that needs this kind of technology," and that was really spearheaded what we do.
That's fantastic. Now how did that grow into Mocha Pro, which is?
Sure. So the first product we called was Mocha, which is basically to remove objects from a scene.
Okay.
And what we found was we worked with a lot of customers. We worked with the first early Harry Potter films. We were actually on site with the post houses, and they were asking us for tools. For example, in Harry Potter, when the camera's panning and you have all the moving paintings, right? Now, of course, you have the actors in front of the paintings,
right?
But you want to put new content, and make the paintings come to life,
right?
Right. That's motion tracking,
right?
And we realized that our algorithms had some ways to solve this better than the tools that were currently out there, point trackers or 3D trackers.
Right.
So we developed these tools very specifically, and what we realized was that the users really wanted just the tracker, just the masking, and they wanted to basically finish the shot in After Effects or in Flame or in Nuke or in their host system.
Right.
So that's how Mocha Pro kind of developed into like a basically best of breed. We do the tracking, we do the masking, and then export the data to the other users.
And a lot of times this is a very advanced form of what would be called rotoscoping.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is, where the software is doing a lot of it for you. I've done a little rotoscoping in my day, and it's a very time-consuming, painful process.
Yes.
Where you're drawing a line around every object that you want to remove at every frame. And actually, for us, the big aha was actually when we started using Mocha Pro. So I'm very familiar with the software.
I'm relatively new to this. So how does that software do it different from what he's describing there, where you're just outlining an object?
So
and then
traditionally, the old school way of doing this was you would draw a shape around the actor, and then you'd have to keyframe it, and
so like if someone's arm's moving, you would draw it here, and then you draw it here.
Oh.
And then it would tween the frames. So then what you do is you go halfway down and you do another one, and then halfway down do another one, and then up here and do another one, and then you just keep on going, and you just keep it's like divide and conquer until you ended up with
very time consuming.
Very time consuming.
But you do it
it's kind of like
now.
I kind of thought of it as like dental hygienist, for film, but it's used on 70 to 80% of every visual effects shot has some.
It's a foundation of not only visual effects, but even for color correction, for video editors. It's because masking and tracking is basically a fundamental part of post-production these days.
Because even if you're doing a green screen, a lot of times the green screens are different values. And so you have to treat them differently. So you'll build rotomasks to separate that out, or a lot of times just something didn't work, and it'll take you so long to try to pull the green screen that you're better off just using Mocha Pro.
So the difference here is that you do what? You outline it once, and then it tracks it throughout the entire process?
The real difference is actually how we analyze the pixels. Okay, so pixels are just data, okay? And motion tracking traditionally would be analyzing each pixel and trying to find a high contrast point, going to the next frame and trying to find that same point. But what happens if those pixels get blurred, or if my hand goes in front of what I'm tracking? There's lots of things where the tracker just breaks, and then the artist goes, "Oh," and I have to go back to the manual work we're talking about.
Alcohol and swearing and
late nights, messy family
relationships. Ex-wives.
So you save relationships.
Yes,
oh
exactly.
yeah. Saving relationships since 2005. Yeah, exactly.
So what we do, we invented something called planar tracking, which is more of a texture analysis that looks in a real layman's way to think of it is, it looks at all the pixels as a huge bunch of textures, and the most pixels that are going in the same direction, it captures. The pixels that are going in slightly different direction, it doesn't understand, it loses. So if something's out of focus, I can actually track it in Mocha, whereas most other trackers can't.
Right, and in layman's terms, that's what it's called. In medieval terms, it's just called magical.
Right, it's called visual effects magic.
Yeah,
magic and
it's
saving
magical.
relationships.
Well,
Wow.
and a lot of times, some of the simplest things that we started using it for, I mean, in the early days, was like signs or planes or so on something. So you see a bus go by, and you want to change the billboard on the side of the bus, and you would define you define like, this is the square and this is my graphic,
and this is what you want.
and
to
it would
say,
just it's done.
Awesome.
A super common thing is how much content has screens in it. Cell phones and computers and TVs are in every single, film and commercial and everything.
You can adjust what's on those screens now.
Exactly, and typically you wouldn't actually shoot that commercial or that scene with the same content, because not only is the director going to want to change what's in the screen, but also it's actually going to look a little out of focus.
Well, and it also takes, one of the things about the screens is that it is so hard when you're an actor to be paying attention, because now you have this huge live system that now has to run. I'm Tom Cruise and I'm going click, 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 and you need to know, like, that's a huge number of people making that all work, because it doesn't really work that way. And so there's all this stuff that you have to create, and if that screws up, then you have to do a whole other take, and you're paying, you're spending $6,000 an hour to do that. And so what we would do with Mocha Pro, sorry, I know, is you put these little dots on the screen. The screen's green, and you put a couple dots on, say 1, 2, 3. So you just talk and you hit 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put the graphic in later. But this is what makes it work, is being able to track it all.
And it sounds like the beauty of it is that you do that in the software, but then you export it and bring it into any editor that you're comfortable with using.
Exactly, and that's actually something that point is really exciting for us right now, because traditionally we've been doing, our software's been used by visual effects artists, but editors for years have been asking for our tools in them, especially editors who work on like Avid Media Composer, does not have like very advanced tracker. So our company was actually acquired recently by Boris FX. It was a very well-known plugin developer. So together, even though it's only been 3 months since they acquired us, we're actually showing here at NAB, we're showing Mocha's tracker in BCC, so an Avid editor can do tracking and masking. So it's cool, because we developed the tools for visual effects, but now we're seeing lots and lots of applications for them, which is really exciting to us.
Awesome.
That's great. Now, where can people find you here on the show?
People can find us at booth 4225 in South Hall, or online at borisfx.com or imagineyoursystems.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ross.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's good seeing you.
Yeah, see you.
And thank you for watching NAB Live 2015. We'll be right back.